So for the first solve of my 2167 PB mean, I started out with EO on blue top, so there's 6 bad edges, 3 right here, 3 right here. So I did D prime, and then now you can get to EO by either doing L prime B2U or B2 L prime U, which is what I ended up doing, and then that gives us DR minus 4A4C. So I switched, and then from there, so we have this block and this block right here. So to get to DR, I did F, R2, F prime, set that up, B2, R2, F, R, and then that gets us 2/4 turn DR, 11 moves. So to try to get to HDR, I switched back again, and then this has the cube like already set up for like R, UI2, R prime kind of thing. That could get us to HDR, but here it doesn't work. So when I tried that, I did B, R2, F, and that doesn't actually give HDR. But then from here, I just kind of noticed just by like glancing at the cube real quick, you just do R2, F2, R2, U2 to get to 3C, and that gives 3C and 18, which there's then an 8 minus 4 in there for 22. Next solve was a 20, so for EO, I started on the inverse, and for what you can do is we have 6 bad edges again, so I did D, B, and then now that leaves us with 4 bad, and you can trace them to see that they're going to end up here, 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 and here. So then you can just get to EO on the normal way, doing like U prime, R prime, F, or F2, LF, which is what I did. So switch F2, LF, and then to get to DR from here, I did D2, R, so then now we're at DR minus 4E, 2E, then U prime, D2, B2, L prime, U2, L. So that is a 13 move DR, but it just kind of looks pretty blocky, and I was about to DNF. So as it turns out, when you switch, all it is just F2, L2, D, F2, D prime to get to HDR, but 2E, 2E. And I know at the very least, like that last D move is going to cancel at least 1 if I choose to just do that. So that's at least a 23. But if you look at the skeleton, right before you get to like the DR turns, there's this. And I know L prime U2 L like preserves this 2E, 2E. And right at that point in the skeleton, there's B2, D2. So I was like, okay, 6 minus 4 for 20. So the last solve was 23. So what I did was start on red front EO, and there are 4 bad edges right here. So I did B prime or B F prime D R to do EO and get us to DR minus 44C. So then I switched and I did U2 R2, and that sets us up to like this good pattern you'll see a lot in DRs where you have like these 2 blocks right here and then this corner wedge in between them. So then from here, all you have to do is L2, B2, D, F prime to get to DR. And this is 2/4 turns, so minus 6E. So what you can do is switch, and then R2, and then now you're set up for like R, UI2, R prime. So then you can get to HDR by doing F2, U prime, R2, D. And now you're at HDR in 14 moves. And then from here, what I did was L2, U2, R2, D2. And then now you're left with 3E and 18. So there was only one way to kind of insert it and get 23 for a 6 minus 1. And that is optimal from the DR and for the insertion. But there is something kind of silly you can do for a 22. So if you look at the skeleton, we have an F prime here, and you can kind of treat this instead of as 3E, but rather the slice layer on green DR. So then you can change this F prime into a Y to F prime, and then you can change some of the moves afterwards to get a 22 to solve this slice.